Hello, my name is Dan DeChico, and this is the first development log for my game Longsword. So Longsword is a game of digital tabletop miniatures. In it, you will assemble a collection of champions, like little miniatures that you place on your digital tabletop, as well as structures you can build on the table, and then spells and equipment that can further affect the battlefield. It's like Warhammer meets Magic the Gathering. I'd like to show you some of the progress that I've been making lately. Let's start by taking a look at your army editor. So for the purposes of this prototype where I'm at now, I've put in approximately 50 different types of units. So I've got, these are champion cards, little miniatures that will move across the battlefield, spells that can affect the battlefield to heal or harm your opponents or do other things like change the terrain. Structures are fixed in place, but provide some sort of localized benefit, and then equipment can be added to your champions to further buff their abilities. Now, all of these cards have a faction associated with them. So, for instance, the Battle Lord is part of the Camelot faction. I'm using some, lore drawn from like Arthurian legend for this faction. The Bone Giant belongs to the Necropolis faction, and I also have like an Elven sort of Fey faction and a Dwarven faction, as well as a bunch of neutral units that don't really belong in any particular faction. So when you're creating an army, you will be encouraged to create thematic decks that are filled with units of your faction, but you're not required to. So like in Magic, if you wanted to build a red, green, black, blue deck, you could, but it might not be as effective as a pure black deck. Now with any good tabletop game, you can customize your miniatures. So if I click on this Battle Lord, we can go check out his miniature. We could, if we wanted to, change the color of his armor. We could change some of the properties to give it some more shine, like if we wanted to do some full Iron Man action, or maybe if we wanted to just go like super reflective shiny chrome, we could do that. So for now, I'll just kind of leave it where I had it. But I expect that players will really enjoy wanting to customize their units to show off their flair. And maybe later I can even add some actual brushwork abilities. It's a little bit of a tougher problem, but it's something I'm looking at and I think I can solve. The UI here isn't complete for the skills of these units, but you'll see them when we move into the actual game. So if I wanted to put together a deck, it's very simple. I just start adding guys to my deck, and then when I'm ready to play, I can select which deck I want to use, and we're off to the races. So let's go take a look at the map editor to get an idea of how this game plays. Okay, here is the tabletop. All right, this is a tabletop game, so we have a nice tabletop, and we load up our map. Now the map is made of hex tiles, and it's 100% customizable. If I wanted to add some more water, I could happily and easily do that. Throw down some dirt. You can stack them high if you like. If you want to create like cool castle structures, you can, and all these different like bridges. And I expect players to get really creative with this stuff, and I want it all to be fully integrated with the Steam Workshop so that you can have these wild maps. And right now there's only a few different tile types, but there's a lot of different props that you can place down in statues and so on. And there's a little thing I call decorations, which don't really take up a whole spot, a whole hex, but you can use to just like prop things out a little bit more. Now, let me reload this map. So the way that the game plays is you draw cards into your hand. You've got a deck that we built earlier. And then you have your Nexus. The Nexus is just a placeholder right now. It'll change depending on the theme of your deck. And then the enemy has a Nexus across the way. Okay, and then in the middle is a Rune Stone. Now these Rune Stones are strategic capture points that give you more mana if you control them, and you can also deploy units next to controlled Rune Stones. So some maps will have just one Rune Stone. We could look at a different map, like this is a much bigger like castle map that has like multiple Rune Stones, multiple capture points. So if we go back to our demo map, we can see we just have one because I want to be able to play the game with people quickly, and I hope I get to play with you soon. So let's click into play mode, and I can drop a few cards down in my turn just to get some more mana. I can show you what these cards look like. So this is like a tree int. All right, this dude is, he's kind of like the guys from the Lord of the Rings. He's big. He's got an ability to throw a huge stone and crush tiles. So you can see him like tossing it. And you wouldn't want to be standing there. Each unit has basic stats which determine how fast they move, how hard they hit, what their defense and health is. And then they also have a series of active skills, things that they can spend action points on. And then they can have some passive skills too that affect other things. So like for instance, this guy's a juggernaut. Like nobody can cause him to lose AP, but he's made of wood, so he has a minor fire weakness. And all of these characters have a series of active and passive skills, and I've tried to make it very transparent, lots of helpful tooltips so that you know what you're getting into. But also, this is a hardcore game. I want you to really think about what goes in your deck. A lot of these cards have nice synergies with each other. There's also, besides equipment, or besides champions, we can have spells to affect the battlefield. So this is like a summon bramble spell, which just like puts like brambles on these spaces. It makes them more difficult to move through. But if you're a juggernaut giant, that doesn't really affect you at all. Though it would affect you if you were like this little spriggan dude. So it takes an extra AP for him to move through. He can cast his mana shield on himself. So that is really the bulk of what this game is. You collect miniatures, you put together a deck, and then you can go at it online. Now, my plan is to give this game away for free and then follow a standard sort of free-to-play formula in that you earn in-game currency by playing, which you can then use to unlock decks of cards. And you can also, of course, just buy some packs of cards. Now, one thing that I intend to do with this engine, this framework that is Longsword, is to put not just this fantasy stuff in here, but to start and really try to get other IPs involved. So I want to make a World War II miniature game. All right, I want to fill this up with tanks and like MG42s and planes and stuff. So I want there to be a digital tabletop framework that can fit inside this Longsword game. So right now what we're looking at is the Longsword fantasy universe, all right? But I also intend to release a Star Drive universe game so that you will have, space bears chomping across a Martian landscape, and lasers and all that kind of stuff. So for now, my first and original and only focus will be the Longsword fantasy universe because I want to prove the concept. I want to get a game out there that you can play soon. And then if it's successful, or even if it's not all that successful, as long as it can pay for itself, I want to keep expanding this because I think it's fun. And the ultimate reason that I think this game will be successful is because it won't actually cost me any money for upkeep. I have a plan in place. Right now I'm using a technology called the Photon Network, which is a sort of cloud-based solution. And of course, there are costs associated with letting people play your game for free. But Steam has a really interesting back end that I think I can have them do all of the message passing for this game, and that means there'll be no server costs. Right now, when you unlock a card, let's say you open up a pack of cards and you get like this sweet Ironbark Giant, and you get the Bramble spell or this Risen Angel, and you get that dude in your deck, then what happens is he goes into your Steam inventory. All right, so you get a little notification up in Steam. It says, "Oh, hey, you've unlocked a new card," and you can trade these guys. You can get out on the Steam marketplace and you can trade just like you could with Magic cards. So I'm not gonna like limit what you can do with your cards like they do in like Hearthstone or something. You want to trade? I want there to be a vibrant trading economy. Okay, so that's what I've got for now. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the YouTube comment section. Retweet this video if you would. I want to spread the word about what we're doing. I really hope that you guys can get involved. Timeline on this, I don't know, next year, earlier probably. Like I said, I've got about 50 cards in place. I want to put about 200 to 250 in place before I launch. And I'm also currently talking to a number of publishers. I want to see if maybe there's some partnership to be had out there because it'd be great if we could get some advertisement and just show the world what this game can be. Until next time, thank you for watching. My name is Dan DeChico, and this is Longsword.